One Side Podcast. I'm your host for the most, Wayne. This is the man in the pits with the tits, Brendan.
With the wine, if you don't mind.
With the wine. I haven't even had a sip of mine yet. How are you doing?
You got a nice Australian Shiraz by any chance?
I've got a Cabernet Sauvignon from Chile.
Yeah.
Are we raced there yet? Are we racing there yet?
Chile, no.
No, they won't have us, will they? They won't have us. Right, okay. Should we just start with pit talk? Shall we start?
Just straight in here, eh?
Okay, people. Now it's pit talk. Pit talk. Hey, that's pit talk. Okay, where are we going to start? G'day, mate. G'day.
G'day, mate. What a race, eh?
What a race.
First, pit talk. Important things to talk about. Red Bull's unreliability. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, because it seems like there's talk of the whole season being over.
Yeah.
The way they're talking is like, it's done. It's over, you know?
The situation is that Honda supply the Red Bull engines for years, and as Honda do, they're in and out of F1 quite
like
regularly.
A fiddler's elbow. Like a fiddler's elbow. Yeah.
And they've decided they're going to pull out to focus on other developments.
Pulling out, yeah. They've got to.
So after the Renault debacle with Red Bull, because Renault were the former suppliers of the engine. Ferrari said they weren't going to supply Red Bull with the engine, so that left Mercedes, and Christian was like, no. So they decided that they were going to develop their own powertrain company. So now
an engine for all regular listeners.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not just the engine. It's
a train, and it's a unit. It's in a block.
It's the internal combustion unit, all the MG, UKs, and the MC, all that kind of stuff. The gearbox, everything, the whole thing.
Right.
They've built a factory for it. The same as Aston Martin have done. They're building their factory. You know.
That's Red going Bull well, isn't it? We'll get to them, but go on.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a minute. So Red Bull have built their own powertrain unit, factory. And it's not quite up and running yet. They've nicked a whole load of people from Mercedes and other companies, predominantly Mercedes, to help them build the engines, but they're all still getting used to it. And now Honda have kind of not pulled the rug, but they're on their own, and they really need that expertise at the moment to find out why
everybody needs teas. Everybody needs teas.
Yeah, they do. Why these engines are spewing their liquid everywhere. I mean,
so what goes on then? Because they just got a load of engines just sat in the back room, and that's it. And Honda aren't going to do anything. I don't understand.
They're allowed three power units a season without penalties, right?
But if
Fernando Alonso has used all of his already.
Oh, poor old Alonso.
Yeah.
Tell me about. Well, we won't get to good race, bad race. We can talk about everybody there. But go on. Let's have it from this Red Bull thing.
They had a massive hydraulic leak, and to quote Max Verstappen, the car just shit the bed. It just everything.
That's a very accurate technical term.
Yeah. So they use hydraulic fluid for the actuator for the DRS. They use it for a lot of things, not the suspension anymore, but there's still hydraulic fluid. It needs to be cooled. It needs to be pumped to different areas. It needs to be distributed at certain pressures, right? So it's all over the place. And something failed massively to the point where oil was all over the hot parts of the car, and it caught fire quite visibly.
I'm no mechanic, or I'm no pretty much anything. I'm no expert on Formula One, to be honest. Nothing technical anyway. But yeah, oil on all the hot bits.
Yeah, not good. So
this is turning into a carry on.
But liquid all over.
It's not good. But what I noticed as well is everything, all the lights go out on the steering wheels. This is twice I've noticed this. They have to just turn everything off. Is that what happens?
he just shut the car down because then it isolates the electrics. There's voltages and stuff going around. There's pumps running. There's cooling fans running. There's all kinds of stuff running. So the easiest way and the only way to shut it down is just to shut it down. I know that sounds silly, but you can't turn off one section of it or one.
It's like just pulling the plug, literally pulling the plug on.
Yeah, it's just Marconi reset. Just turn the whole thing off.
Is it like an off button then? Just literally turn everything off button. Yeah.
Traditionally, it's called a key in a car. I don't know.
In a key, yeah. What all right, a Formula One car doesn't have that. Because to start a Formula One car, actually, I don't know how they start their Formula One cars now, but not long ago, it's a thing in the back, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, they've got starter motors in them now, so they can start when they're out on the track. That was one of the changes a few years ago.
Yeah.
So that if it stalls as a result of bad driving, they can restart it, and it's not end of it. If they stall on the track, they can restart it themselves. So they do have starter motors. Yeah, but they need to get a grip of that. And it is, as Max Verstappen said, it's unacceptable that it happens at this level. You know, they need to get a hold of it.
I'm not a fan of the word unacceptable when something's already. Well, it's kind of already happened. Do you see what I mean?
But it's unacceptable.
You've already accepted it.
It's unacceptable that it happened, and it's got to change going forward. It can't happen again. It's a past tense, future implication, I would think.
But it's almost like this is unacceptable, but it's already happened, so you've already accepted it. But it's unacceptable. Well, I get what you're saying. You don't want it to happen, but it's already happened. It's one of those words.
Use your big words to describe it differently. Then
this is unfortunate.
Nothing to do with luck. Fortune is to do with luck. It's nothing to do with luck.
Well, you know, as a Formula One person who likes to watch all the old races, things break, and these are technical things.
And I'm sure they were unacceptable then as well. It wasn't.
I'm just not a fan of that word.
Too many syllables in it for you?
Well, maybe, but they're all. The word accepting, you have to accept things that happen. Saying, "Oh, that's unacceptable." It's almost like the word.
They're implying that in the future it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't have happened then, and it's to do with the culture within the company. Okay. It's to do with the mentality of the driver or the mechanics that are. Yeah, do you know what? Let's not tighten that up because that's acceptable. No, it's not acceptable to have that mindset. That it's unacceptable. It should be different.
Okay, so you're talking about a professional attitude towards what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's unacceptable.
No, like it's unacceptable when they run out of petrol, right? Because we've had that, and we've had that in Formula One before. That's unacceptable.
Alex Albon happened to Alex Albon during that kind of glossed.
You just want me to put the cat sounds on, don't you? Anyway, it is unacceptable, but because that's one dude doing it. But when something breaks, it's out of your control. I always find that saying it's unacceptable is a bit of a pointless term. There you go. I'm going to win this argument.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to win this.
So from a mechanical point of view,
it's
unacceptable. One possible scenarios for Max Verstappen's car is that there was a kink in the pipe and the pipe failed. That there was a fitting that wasn't done up properly. There was an O seal that failed. There was a mechanical seal that failed. Right, all those four scenarios. Right.
Right.
Somebody should be checking them. Someone should be checking them and ensuring they're correct, right? If somebody knows about a problem with any of them, they should be changed. That's what's acceptable, right? If somebody
do things just break when they're going round through?
Not when it's a refurbished engine and it's been redone and it's been set up for a Formula One race. It shouldn't be happening.
Right.
It's unacceptable. Does that make sense?
I'm not going to labour the point, but you know,
you are.
Well, yeah, I am. But so okay, let's move on from that one to Mercedes engines cooling. What's going on?
Yeah, they need to sort that out. That's not just car specific. That's nothing to do with side pods or because the Mercedes with no side pods had the issue. There was a radio call to Lewis to keep his car cool. There was a radio message to Lando Norris to keep his car cool, and they're very different.
That's the same power unit manufacturer.
Yeah, same engine, same power unit, different chassis, right? Mercedes don't have side pods. McLaren do have side pods, so it's nothing to do with the side pods. It's to do with the engine and the design of it. So there's something funky going on there. They need to sort that out.
And it's coming like not even like near the end of the race. It's just like, oh, you're overheating.
Yeah,
I had an old MGTF, and not even remotely comparing it, but it couldn't get cool. Couldn't cool down. So what's I don't even know.
On your car,
the MGTF had the engine in the back and the coolant. There was a problem with the way it was designed.
The radiator was probably at the front, wasn't it? Yeah.
The design was bad. The design bad because the engine was in the back and the coolant wasn't getting around it, and it was always overheating.
And there's something that's not happening. The hot air isn't getting taken away somehow, or the heat hasn't been taken away. So the heat exchanger or something isn't happening. Something isn't doing what it should be doing. Again, unacceptable.
Which is well, that's not their fault.
That drinking game. We pick a word every week.
We pick a word every week. Every time we say something, we have another sip. We'll have another sip now. So they can't call their engine. They had a better race though, but they still claim the car. Mercedes had a better race.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
but they still claim they haven't moved forward on the car.
No.
And ironically, when Norris was interviewed, and they said, "Oh, you've had a great race," and they said, "Yeah, but the car's still shocking."
Yeah,
so that's the power unit, yeah. The engine.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's got quite a lot to do with it. There was also so remember we've spoken about the distance between the power unit and the gearbox, and then there's a shaft in between.
Yeah. Right. Gonna stay sharp. Go for it. Yeah.
So,
right.
So on the Mercedes, I don't know if the gearboxes are the same, but they're talking about the positioning of the weight at the back, right? So how compact that weight is and how far over the back axle that weight is centered is the center of gravity, and that's affecting the porpoising.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they've maybe shortened it or they've got a longer shaft in between the two parts of the engine, and that's what's adding to their problem. So that might be why they know what the problem is, that engine may be too far forward and it needs to come back a bit, and that's not something you're fixing with a couple of little bits of carbon on the floor. Do you know what I mean? That's a major change.
It's a major redesign. This is kind of one of the problems when you're designing a car and you're running it through computer models, but in the real world, the real world isn't a computer model, is it?
No.
And that's all I've got to say. Once it's on the track, and because there's so many combinatorial explosion again, we said it. I've mentioned that before. The variables are just infinite.
Yeah, but now it's almost a little bit easier, because now instead of having a theoretical design and having to figure out all the problems you may have with that theoretical design, now they actually have a problem and now they have to find a solution. That is a lot easier to deal with.
It's when you don't know what the problem is.
Yeah. They need to find the problem. I reckon they know what the problem is. It's a massive problem. They just need to find the solution, and they need to find it within the budget cap.
They do.
And that levels the playing field.
There's always ways they always get around that budget cap, don't they?
Yeah.
They always manage it, don't they?
Yeah.
Ferrari, good race, bad race. Well, good race for Leclerc, obviously. He's literally crushing it.
First of the second driver, isn't it?
Well, we'll get to that with good race, bad race. I think we've done enough tech talk now, haven't we?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, let's do a Murray. Let's get to Murray. Is he up there?
Incredible!
Yep, that's Murray. That's Murray. He's done his bit. Oh, I'll turn the applause off quite quickly. Let's just toast to Murray. We miss him. Do you know what I do? I do miss that guy. Talking about TV coverage. Anyway, I thought I watched the race three times.
Wow.
On Sky, the full race as well.
Yeah.
And then I put it on the Channel 4 coverage. Obviously, that's the word I was looking for. I don't know what I was trying to say. And I watched that, which is generally just highlighty. It's a bit longer than like your average 30-minute. And I did enjoy the Channel 4 highlights better, I have to say. There you go.
Now it's the commentary that's different because it's all the same pictures, isn't it? It's all the same.
And I thought that I think it was edited slightly differently because it was halfway between your 30-minute sort of Sky highlights and your full race, so it was kind of cut up and edited differently. But the commentary was, I found it better. Sorry, Sky. I think but I did catch.
Crofty had his days, you think, or is it?
No, of course not. I still like them as well. I don't,
But is it the people they have in with Crofty? Who was in with who was in on Sky on Channel 4?
Channel 4. So you had Webber. You had
that's good on an Aussie.
I am missing our old friend Eddie Jordan. Yeah, I liked him when he was doing it.
I like Eddie Jordan. I've had a drink with Eddie.
Oh, see, there you
go. A couple of drinks actually.
You were just a show off, aren't you? So
played pool on his pool table.
Okay, let's go. Let's move on to good race, bad race, somewhere in the middle.
Steering wheel. Somebody tell him to give it to me. Come on, move.
Right,
that's
a loud clap. So, good race, bad race, somewhere in the middle. Who's had a good race for you?
Alex Albon, get the cats out.
Alex Albon. Oh, we didn't mention this in Wood. I tell you what, we're not going to mention. We didn't mention it in pit talk. That's what I want to talk about. Is tyre degradation a thing of the past? What's going on?
Only for Williams, by the look of it.
Well, it seemed like he could have gone till the end on the one set. But tyre degradation is something they put into Formula One, like the DRS. Could it be something that they could just remove now? Just here's one set of tyres. If you knacker them, you can change them. But
yeah, they could do.
It seems like that would be a more fun. It's like this whole, we're going to force them to have this tyre and then one of these, unless it rains, and they've got to have 4 of these and one of those. And, it's just like this kind of, again, bringing in rules to make it more exciting. I don't think rules make it more exciting. I think less rules make it more exciting, to be honest. We can talk about those rules later on. But Alex Albon, I've got loads of cat sounds to put on every time we mention it.
There's definitely something to be said, about the fact that he was just driving around the track. He wasn't necessarily.
I think that was the point of the exercise. That was the exercise.
Yeah. He wasn't necessarily racing anyone. He wasn't putting his tires under massive
Oh, I know what you mean.
pressure.
But he said in an interview, he was doing qualifying laps at the end.
Yeah. It was qualifying.
And if you've got that much grip with those hard tires at the end of the race, you've had them on nearly popping into the pit. Here's another thing that I thought: where's his pit box? Schumacher did this one year. He served his penalty, and his pit box was over the finishing line. So he came in on. He had a bit of nostalgia here. Okay, people, sorry, but he came in over the pit line, over the start finish, won the race, then served his penalty because his pit box was at the end of the pit lane. So it had no effect on him winning the race. So he came in, and it was like he came in on the last lap.
Yeah, that loophole's been closed on the regulations. Of
course it has.
You have to serve.
That's why I hate regulations. That was clever. So where's his pit box? If he'd have done that on the last lap and he popped into the pits, and
because Williams are DFL, they're at the end. They're the closest end to the entrance. Is it the furthest way down?
I don't know.
I think whoever wins the championship is the first.
It's the first one in.
The exit.
First one in.
Is it?
Yeah. That's the first one you get to if you've won the championship. So that's going to be.
So Williams will be way down the other end. So it would have been, but
it might have been past the start finish line.
Yeah.
And if he's entered the pits, he's technically gone into the pits on the last lap. Obviously, they've closed that loophole, but I did think about that briefly. I do think about things briefly.
Nice, yeah.
But
right, so who do you think had a good race?
I'm not going to mention Albon. Who had a good race? Apart from Leclerc and Verstappen didn't. I thought Perez did a solid job. Again, he's I mean, what's going on there? Is he going to be a number? I don't think he'll ever be number one. He'll never be number one in that team. Not after.
I don't think so.
Not after Verstappen delivered the goods last year, or Michael Massey did, whichever way you want to sit on the fence there. But who had a good race?
I think the McLarens had a good race compared to previous races.
Yeah, Alonso was having a good race. I'm going to go for Perez. He had a good race. He had a good race because he finished. The car made it to the end of the line, and
he was on the podium.
Russell had a good race. I think it was nice to see Hamilton happy, and that's what happens when you lower your expectations.
And it was nice to hear him saying something different as well. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't thanking the people in Brackley and the pit team, and he wasn't doing.
When are they ditching those masks? For the love of God! Anyway,
well, it's driver specific. It's different drivers wear them. Some of them wear them. Some of them
different
don't.
Different policies.
And you'll notice, I think it's the people that have had it that are wearing them. Except Seb. Seb just doesn't give a crap. He's just trooping around.
Now we'll get to the bad races because there's quite a few contenders. Somewhere in the middle, Bottas again. Somewhere in the middle. K-Mag. I'm a little bit. Oh, wait a minute. Where is it? Where's my K-Mag music? Okay, that's my K-Mag. K-Mag had an all right race,
but he got beaten by his teammate. You know, we're back to that. Where
that was a strategy. That was
a finisher. It has.
That was a strategy thing because he was well ahead of him a lot of the time during the race. He was. I don't look. Come on, one swallow doesn't make a spring
relationship.
Oh, where's the canned laughter when you need it? I'll have to stick that on now.
That should be number one.
So K-Mag had a middle of the race. Bottas, he had a middle of the race. Alonso,
poor Alonso. He was on for like top three in the qualifying. He was up there with Christian Horner's comment about he would rather have a fast car that's unreliable than a slow car that's reliable. You know what I mean? He would rather go out and be in it to win it and then lose massively than just troop along and sit in the middle of the field. And that's what Alonso did. Alonso went out and pushed and tried his damnedest and got bitten, which is a shame because any other day he'd have been on the podium.
He's a class act. The guy's a class act. And who else was a class act? Pretty much that's it. Now let's start shitting on people. Right, let's go. Sainz. What's going on? Sainz now has booked his place as a number two. Literally. A lot of that.
It wasn't. I'm playing devil's advocate here. None of it was his error, right? The steering wheel was changed at the last. Was changed on the pit lane. It wasn't programmed correctly, which is why he stalled on the start.
Yeah.
The tires weren't up to temperature. They started them on the hard tires. They weren't warm enough because he didn't warm them on the warm-up lap correctly, the formation lap correctly.
Yeah.
Because he was messing about with the steering wheel. So, you know, it was nothing that he did caused
his first couple of laps. It was him what he did. He made bad judgment calls when his overtaking was bad judgment calls.
He didn't do a couple of laps. He was only in it for one lap. He spun out on
and those judgment calls on overtaking, these were bad calls. He had to wait. He had a faster car. He had to just calm himself down a little bit. He had to calm himself down.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to make overtakes to make up for it in the first lap. And he didn't have to because his car was way better than everybody else's. Just wait for the
reliable. Yeah, he should have been patient. Yeah.
He should have been, shouldn't he? And he was all over the show. And you know, K-Mag made the same mistake as he did on the same corner. Didn't end up in the gravel, and it was a shocker for him. And he's booked his place now. I think that's it. It's done for him. You know, and it's a shame because he's a contender.
Just to put this into perspective, right? We're third race in. There's a lot of points still on the board.
Right.
And you were saying earlier about people saying that the season's over and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
It's a long way from over. It's 23 races in the season. There's still another 20 to go. There's a lot of points. I would be careful, cautious, and not get jingoistic like some of the lesser quality tabloids and say that the seasons are over. And
I'm not saying the season's over. That's what shocked me, was the talk about the season being over. That's what got me, because it's only going to take about 3 races of a DNF, couple of DNFs for Leclerc, and it's wide open again. It's wide open. Why are they saying it's over? Literally talking so about him. How many times, a Ferrari been in this position? And it's all fallen apart the second half of the season.
How many Grand Prix are there where whoever's P1 got into that first turn, right? And I'm thinking about Austria specifically, right? That turn 1 where you get that big run up the hill to that big wide corner. How many people that are in P1 just end up getting absolutely destroyed in that corner? Yeah, there's loads of Grand Prix where that can happen. So, and
they destroy other people's Grand Prix as well, and it's all along the way.
Yeah,
and we saw that with. Yeah, we've seen that loads of times. Even I don't know what race it was, but the Bottas incident where he took out both Red Bulls. That can happen. And why they're just gobbing off about it being that's it. Leclerc's almost like the champion already. 3 races in, got another 21. Races.
That's journalism for you. That's why podcasts like this, with people with no agenda, that's why they're raising
no listeners either. But go on.
There isn't. What's the agenda?
We got a few. We've got a few listeners. We've got one fellow in Portugal who's downloaded every episode. So if you're in Portugal, if you send us a message,
obrigada.
Thank God. I was going to say I'll learn a Portuguese word. Makes me wonder. I tell you what, we'll look into Portuguese drivers. That'll be a short podcast, but we'll look into it. Who else had a bad race? I think we can safely say Vettel has had the worst weekend ever.
Aston Martin, he's regretting that move. He'd have been happier going to Williams or Alfa Romeo, to be honest.
But last year they showed so much promise, and that's the problem, isn't it? Because of this whole massive rule change, you couldn't call it. You couldn't call it. You couldn't call it.
They were driving.
Otherwise, can you imagine like Haas coming up to Vettel and going, "Do you want to join our team?" He'd just go, "No, you've been at the back of the grid with Mazepin and sorry, where is it? Jesus, that was loud. Poor old Nicky. He's done a hard talk interview on the BBC, so I'm thinking of checking that out.
I was going to say I've not watched it. I'm just so interested in what he said.
Not a lot of people have. Right, sorry, Nicky. So who else had a good race, bad race? Hang on, let's have a Murray first. First. Okay, is he up there? Yeah, man.
So easy to get it wrong.
Got him up again now. Thank you, Murray. Right. Seamless. Who else had a good race? Let's talk about Lance Stroll's racecraft. You go ahead first. Did you not see this?
Oh, yeah, I mean, where to start? The incident that got referred to the stewards, where you got the time penalty for.
Yeah.
The weaving up and down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, fair enough. I understand why he got it. He doesn't understand why he got it, and he's a professional driver, right? It says a lot about him, right?
Right.
The bit where he pushed Bottas off the track, that the stewards didn't investigate, I don't understand that.
Why they didn't investigate, or you don't understand why they didn't investigate?
I don't understand why they didn't investigate it.
Yeah, because and you know what, I've looked at that a couple of times, and he definitely opened. And the thing is, the cameras are all there; they can see when you're opening up that steering wheel just that little bit. If you're pulling to the right, and then you just quickly do this, or you just open it up too much, you're definitely running someone off the road.
And they can see telemetry, is he braking, is he accelerating, what's he doing? They can see all that, and they know that. And what he did to Latifi in qualifying was bang out of order. He should be penalised heavily.
Oh my God, that was just disgraceful. And it's like, And he was, Latifi's right. Does the guy not have any mirrors on that thing? It does make you wonder. It's like I get the moving around. And for me, sometimes, like, again, we can talk about the FIA rules in a minute. Yeah, you're right. There is going to be a bit of defending what you're doing, but you can't make it, especially if you've got a thin track with a road track, you can't be that unpredictable. You can move once, that's it. If you're moving around, it's so dangerous.
Yes, it is, yeah.
And people die from that. You could have a crash and someone could get really hurt. And it's, I don't know. And how many points do you have to get on your license before you're binned off? I mean, how many?
But then does he get points on his license as well as the time penalty he served?
Well, yeah.
Right, okay.
Well, Jesus, I'm caught speeding on the motorway, mate. I get points on my license and I have to pay a fine.
You have to go into the local Esso and stand still for 10 minutes before they put any fuel in.
Yeah. They don't rush to serve me. They just stand.
Hang on, he's serving a penalty. He was leaving on the A5.
Yeah, but it's only fair, and it is kind of a penalty he's got to have, because it was, and the fact, it's not the fact that he's done it, it's the fact that he doesn't understand what he's done.
I'm sorry, but the guy just annoys me. It's another one. It's quite obvious that Daddy owns the team, and it's that it bothers me that he's not. Yeah, he's just. I know he's got racing pedigree, but he doesn't behave that way. He doesn't behave like a professional driver. He doesn't behave like somebody that's worked their ass off and had to really fight for every single race.
What is his pedigree? Have we looked at his pedigree?
Yeah, we have. Well, I have. He's been in the mix. He's done all right, There's other podcasts.
We're not advertising them, mate. Jesus Christ!
I'm not going to tell you who it was. I can't remember who it was, but they've gone into should he have a seat? Is he just there because of Daddy, or so he's
let's quickly screen share, just quickly.
All right,
let's just have a look at this guy's pedigree on teams that his daddy doesn't own. Okay.
Oh, that really makes it really easy then.
Well, no, if he, like you say though, if he's a winner in the team that Daddy doesn't own, it's kind of all right. But Williams, Stroll, Jeffrey Williams. All right, it's Formula One. Let's go backwards. At 2015, Lance Stroll won the New Zealand-based Toyota Race Series. He won. Let's just see. There we go. Karting career, first position. So he's won stuff.
Yeah, you keep going down. I mean, he won.
2011. It starts really after. What's this? This is his car. This is karting.
He won Formula 3 in European Championships.
Let's have a look. Race career summary: 2014 Florida Series, Formula 1, 15th, 11th, 13th. Now, and 2022. Now he's 18th. Yeah.
And I think Daddy was an investor with Williams for a while.
Oh, so his daddy's got a big wallet then, basically.
Yeah.
It is a shame that. Well, no, what is he? 24 Hours Daytona. Co-drivers Brendan Hartley. That'll please old Greta behind me. You see, he drove with Brendan Hartley, Greta.
You need to move your cursor up a bit. There you go. There's Brendan Hartley.
Oh, he's a young lad, isn't he? I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, Andrew Perry. Anyway, we don't want to alienate the people that are listening to it on the podcast, but we're looking at the Wikipedia page of Lance Stroll. If you want to watch along, pop out your phone, have a look at Lance Stroll's pedigree, and I love talking about it like they're dogs. But, well, yeah, what's more disappointing is I'm no fan of the race stewards, as you know. But why can't he just say, oh, yeah, hold his hands up, take his slap on the wrist, move on? To say he doesn't know what he's done wrong is a bit of a dick move, isn't it?
Yeah.
Surely he said that after he's watched the videos of the whole weekend. But Aston Martin, they must cost him a fortune. The whole weekend.
One of the things that annoyed me was the way he dealt with the accident with Latifi. You know, he was like, "Oh yeah, the track slopes away to the right." So what? What's that got to do with it? You cut in on him quite obviously, and you're saying it's not your fault. You know, if you'd never watched Grand Prix before, Formula One before, you didn't know anything about motor racing, and you watched that crash, you would say the guy in the green car cut in on the guy in the blue car. That's what happened, right?
Yeah.
That obvious, but he didn't hold his hands up and say, "Yeah, I made a mistake. I didn't see him. He blindsided me. I wasn't expecting him to come through on a blind side like that. You know, after I just passed him. I'm sorry." Right? He didn't say any of that, and I think because of that, he's a dick.
You think? Wow. Is that in the FIA rulebook? You get that. You get that stamped on.
Yeah.
You get that stamped on your license, dick, and you don't get it removed for like 10 races. I don't know.
Yeah. You have to go on one of those bad boy courses as well.
So, I think we've pretty much done for good race, bad race, haven't we? What I wanted to talk about in Big Balls. No, let's just talk about this whole FIA thing going on here. I want you to talk about what you said about the jewelry.
Oh, the earrings.
I just want to get this out of the way at the end of this segment.
The earrings and pants that Ted was talking about.
Yeah, it's just, when's it going to stop with these people? Now, for me,
with the
FIA stewards.
Okay.
So, like, when you've got the situation.
Can I just clarify something?
Go on.
The stewards and the race director are different. They have different jobs.
But they're still running the same rule book, aren't they? Have I got to change this new promo I've done?
No. The FIA's race director, right? The former Michael Massey figure is the one that's enforcing the jewelry and pants rule. Okay. The stewards are the ones that make decisions if Lance Stroll had committed a crime while driving, right? They've got marshalling experience, they've got driving experience, they've got race director experience, and they decide if the person has acted in a racing manner or an unsafe manner, or if they're just being a dick, right? That's the steward's job.
Does the stewards enact what the race director asks?
No, they're separate people, right? They're separate sections, right? But the race director is to do with safety and with abiding by not the rules of the motorsport and the gentleman's agreements about only not swerving. He's purely to do with safety, right? So the earrings and the pants thing is that there's been a lot of rules since 1995 apparently, or 2005. There was a 5 in it anyway when Ted said it, but there's been a historic rule that you have to wear fire retardant underwear, right?
Okay, well that's pretty sensible-ish.
Very sensible, right? And that's it's so in the rule book there's chapter 15 clothing, for example, right? And in that chapter, there's paragraph 3, and it's subsection 4, and it talks about undergarments, right? Okay. This subsection says about undergarments and jewelry, right?
So I said jewelry and undergarments are two different things.
Well, hang on a minute. When you think about, they have to have protective overalls,
right?
Okay. So there's a chapter on the specifications of those overalls. There's gloves, chapter on gloves, helmet, chapter on that. Right. Then they've got undergarments, which are the shirts that you see them wearing. They're all branded and stuff. Right. They're all right. And then there's under trousers as well. And then there's underpants. Right. They have.
You stop turning me on.
They don't specify. But they just say that they have to be fire retardant. Right. They don't specify if they're cotton or nylon or whatever. Okay. Right. And in that clause as well, there's about jewelry and necklaces and earrings and rings and jewelry in general, right? Now, coming from a background in shipborne firefighting, there's an issue with heat buildup, right? That's the jewelry aspect of it, right? If you've got something hot that transmits heat or stores heat or can burn you, if that gets warmer quicker, the earring or the necklace or the ring, then that's a safety issue, right? The same with your underpants. If they're not flame retardant, or your socks.
What about your hair?
You've got a balaclava on. There's a chapter on that, right?
Yeah, but if you've got long hair, isn't that more fire? Isn't that more flammable?
It's held within the balaclava.
Yeah, but it's still something that's highly flammable. The less hair you've got, the better. And where do the rules end? Do you see what I mean? If hair's flammable,
it's the biggest word with health and safety and all that kind of stuff is where practicable, right? And it's you've got to balance it between the two, right? And that's part of the argument, is that this rule has always been in the rules, right? This has always been always, or since last 10 years, right?
That's not always then, is it?
No, but last 10 years. Good point. I'll give you that one.
Okay.
But last 10 years, right?
That's a correction there. We'll sort that out next podcast.
It's never been enforced, though.
Exactly. Right.
Well,
it's a rule. There's a lot of rules that have never been enforced. If you want to go to
you decided at the start of this podcast to talk about unacceptable and the definition of the word unacceptable, right? That is your prerogative, right? And that was perfectly justified. There was nothing wrong with that at all, right? It was within the bounds of the podcast, and we discussed it. The new race directors have come in, and they are like, well, this is our job. This is what we need to look at. And this is one of the rules that I think is important. For whatever reason they think is important, they are enforcing this rule now.
I think part of it, right? Okay, here I go. Where's my soapbox?
Right, I'm gonna mute
sit
my
back. Let's have a sip.
I'm gonna have a bit of chocolate.
Sometimes when people come in and they're middle management, they like to create rules and regulations or examine rules that don't need to be looked at, but it's like they've got to do something to justify their own position in the company. So I've worked in places. It's like, we've decided now we're going to move this over to here. Well, we've been put that there for 10 years and I've been here 10 years. Why do we need to change it? Well, I'm in charge and I need to change things. And it is a particular characteristic of a kind of managerial kind of sensibility, the constant changing of rules and moving around of things that aren't broken, fixing things that aren't broken. Now,
okay, right, I get your point.
Right, so and a lot of it stems from people's need to perform actions in the workplace because they need to justify their positions in that workplace. There's no point in a new manager coming in and going, "Is everything running great?" Yeah, brilliant.
Well, if it was running great,
I'm not finished.
They wouldn't have
exactly.
So it's obviously not running well.
What do you mean?
It wasn't running well.
No. Once these positions are created, they never go away.
Yeah, but right. You need to have a race director. You need to have somebody in charge overall.
I fully get all that, but
now I'm pretty sure when these guys come in, the requirements pre-race are completely different to what Michael Massey's requirements were pre-race. It just happens to be that the rule about jewelry and underwear has caught the eye of Ted Kravitz on Sky, and he talks about it, and then it's become viral. Right now, if you look back at Romain Grosjean's crash,
right, I'm listening. I am listening. Right
on the when he burst into flames. One of the areas where he was injured was his hands and his feet. Right. Now, you imagine that he obviously had the specification gloves on, he had specification boots on. When he got pulled out of that, or when he climbed out of that cockpit, that monocoque, I know you like that word.
Go on.
It's not something you're used to, the monocoque. You're used to multiple. But anyway, When he climbed out.
Wow, you really took advantage of the fact that I was looking at my phone then, didn't you?
Yep. When he climbed out, his boot stuck to the inside of the car, and he got pulled out, and his sock was all that was protecting him, and he stepped on the flames, and he burnt his foot. Now, can you imagine, right?
Poor little princess.
A lot of these guys go.
Poor little princess racing very, very high speed cars for a living that he chose to do for millions of pounds.
I'm not asking for your sympathy, right? If you let me finish.
I really came down hard there, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah. All these guys live on, or they go on holidays on mega yachts and go on the beach and all this kind of stuff. Very fashionable to wear toe rings, right? Stupid little things. I've seen a lot of them on people like that on mega yachts, right? They have toe rings on, right? Can you imagine Roman Grosjean had a little brass or copper toe ring on while he was driving, and he jumped out, his boot got taken off, and that got super hot and just burnt into his toe while he got taken off? While he was jumping around there, while he got taken out.
This is the safety risk principle thing, isn't it? Again,
right
now you're racing Formula One cars.
It is a rule.
Paid millions of pounds.
Deserves to be enforced.
Go on.
Is my point. It is a rule that deserves to be enforced. I would disagree that it's someone new coming in and just enforcing rules for the sake of it. I'm pretty sure there's a list of new rules or of existing rules that are now being enforced because Michael Massey's out of the picture, that these new race directors are enforcing, that we've never seen or heard of before. This one had just happened to be mentioned, and I happen to think that this one is justified.
You know, I like the fact that you're going to stand by this. I'm going to point to an academic article. No, I'm not. It's a book called Parkinson's Law. I think it's Parkinson's Law, the Peter Principle. There's two things about managerial things, right? And he noticed that managers always expand and he noticed it in the Navy, okay? He noticed that over time we had less and less warships, but the managerial aspect expanded and expanded and expanded. Okay, and I think this is a particular problem within organizations. And do you see what I mean? Once these jobs are created, they expand and they have to think up ways to justify. No, I'm not finished. Okay, and I think this is possibly an example of this. Rules that are created.
The job hasn't been created. The rules have always been there. The job has always been
they've been created by someone.
Years ago, though.
Not years ago, 10 years ago. It's not long, is it? What I'm suggesting is this constant sort of micromanaging happens in like the middle management top level, not the top level of management. They don't give a flying fuck. They're the elites. They're the ones going to the parties and the mountains, getting blowjobs and whatever. What I'm talking about is this middle management micromanaging aspect of it.
If you got an issue with a manager at work, Wayne, is this something we need to? This is a safe space. Please come sit down. We can share. We can talk about it
projection
openly.
Or is it something?
But don't hide behind Formula One.
I've got an issue with middle management. Every time I've worked in organisations and they need to cut costs, they always just sack the people doing the work, and the managers all sit in their chairs and wonder why things fall apart. But anyway, managers don't make good rules up. They make rules to justify their own existence. And the more managers you've got, the more rules are going to be made up. And it's a pointless rule. And the other one was the Sebastian Vettel thing. No one died. No one got hurt. Nothing happened. Now, I understand that he didn't ask permission, but these rules are sometimes made up by people who don't make a difference in the world and they desperately want to. And it's about them. Oh, well, Sebastian Vettel didn't ask for permission to get on the bike and ride around that empty track when all he was doing was waving to his fans.
Why was it empty?
Why was it? Because he crashed.
It was in the middle of qualifying.
He crashed, didn't he?
Yeah. So there was yellow flags or red flags, right? But there still could have been cars coming out.
No, mate. He wouldn't have done that if there wasn't. No, I'm sorry. You know, there could have been, and an airplane could have fallen out of the sky and landed on people. Why don't we give everybody hard hats? Because you just never know when an airplane is going to fall out of the sky. We need to be looked after. We need to be looked after.
Can we just have a drink to him?
Let's have a Let's have a fucking drink to that.
Let's have a drink to Henry.
Let's go have a drink to Henry up there.
Let your glass get empty.
If only I had a picture of him, I'd make him into a meme. That man.
What a man.
Never understood a goddamn word he said. What a man. What a gentleman. But the point is, you're trying to mitigate every single thing that could possibly happen on every level. And you can't. You can't.
But from F1's point of view,
the rule book would have to be so thick.
Yeah, that they've got to protect themselves. You know, is Romain Grosjean going to sue? If he burns his little pinky, he's going to sue FIA because they didn't enforce the rule on his little toe ring. Have you met Americans?
It's just it's a probability,
it's
mate.
The culture we're in, though.
It's tragic. It's tragic.
It is. I'm not denying that, but it's the culture we're in.
I know.
They have to,
and here's the other one. Here's the other one. And it's always after the event. So here's the other one. And Vettel said it. He said, "Where's this money going? They fine me this much. They fine you that much. Where's it going?"
Now you're talking about fines. Do you know how much you get fined?
How much?
$5 grand. $5 grand.
Well, that's still a lot of money, mate.
You know how much
that would change my bloody life.
Do you know how much you get fined? Do you know how much you get fined for touching a car in Park Fermi?
Go on.
50 grand.
It's ridiculous. Now you know
that is ridiculous.
It is.
If
someone just goes up to you and just says, "Look, guys, you know that's the rule, don't you? You don't touch the car."
Right, 50 grand.
If someone paid me 50 grand to touch my Seattle Alhambra. Anyway, I think we should just move on to predictions.
Yeah, move on.
We've got no big balls, little balls. Let's move on to predictions. Let's have a Murray first. For the love of God.
Predictions for what? We've not got a race this week.
No, we're going to add up our totals. We're going to add up our totals like we did last time. And then next week we make the predictions. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Let's have a Murray first.
Let's get Murray's point of view on it.
There he is.
Thank you, Murray. Thank you, Murray, for popping along there. We need some stands here. This could have gone to fisticuffs. Okay, now we need to.
By the time you get here, I'll have forgotten what you were fighting about.
Yeah. How would you maintain that anger with someone else driving? God, I'm really gonna. Oh, I can't be bothered now. What time is it? Right. So, what do we predict? We're going to add up the scores from last time, aren't we? So
scores on the doors.
Let's find it.
I've got the finishing order here.
I've got to find the have you got the PowerPoint? I only know what PowerPoint is the correct one. Do you know the last scores? Jesus Christ, we're terrible, aren't we? We're terrible and professional.
You sent it on the WhatsApp, didn't you? So I've got it here then.
What scores are we at the moment?
I don't know. You're keeping track of that.
Jesus Christ. What do you say? Right, put it up, and we'll just do the scores. Come on. Oh, first of all, we have to actually go to predictions.
I put it to riot.
There you go. There's the seamless editing. Oh, that's really nice for podcast listeners who have gone from 6 minutes in. Predictions Australia. Here we go. Yeah, that's right. I put mine in. I've got them here. What was it? 1 point for a top 10. 2 points for a correct placement, and a point for fastest lap, point for fastest lap time, and pole, and 2 points. Was it 2 points or was it 20 points for getting it spot on?
I remember, but I just sent you last week's predictions.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out. I know I'm in the lead. I know I'm on 7. I'm on
by 1 point, though.
No, I'm on 17. You're on 15.
Oh, 2 points. All right.
Okay.
The joy you said that with is quite chilling.
Yeah, it's chilling. Okay. Okay. I've got it here. Look. Here we go. There we go. Look. Here we go. Annotate. Okay. So, who won this goddamn race? Can you tell me? And because we've got podcast listeners, we're going to have to chat our way through this as well. Let's move this out of the way. What's that all about? Right. Okay. So let's go for yours first. No points for you there. Did Verstappen finish? So there's no. Leclerc, you got 1 point there. 1 point there. Perez finished. Where did he finish? Second. So you got 1 point there. Sainz, nothing. Russell, you've got a point there. Bottas, where did Bottas?
I thought we got extra points for getting in the right position.
Yeah, he's not in the right position. He came fourth.
Russell was third.
Yeah, but you've got him in fifth here.
All right, okay.
Oh, no, thank you for reminding me. 2 points for me there. Thank you, sir. You looking at the wrong side, weren't you?
I wasn't even looking at it. I was trying.
Oh, look at this. I'm crushing it. 2 points for Leclerc. 9 points there. I'm already ahead of you already. I feel like the season's over.
You twat.
Yeah, of course I'm a twat. Right, so I'm doing yours. Right, Bottas. Where did Bottas finish?
8th.
Jesus. So you got him in the top 10, so it's 1 point. You got Hamilton in the top 10, 1 point. Gasly. This might be where you... No.
Gasly was top 10. He was 9th.
No, wrong place. Alonso, nothing. You've had a shocker, mate. You got one for Norris. There. Okay. Well, who got the lap time? Not Perez. No point.
None of us, I think.
Who got pole? You got Leclerc, and I got Leclerc. So that's a point there for you.
Yeah, Leclerc was pole, and then the fastest lap was 1:20.26.
Isn't that the French? Hang on a minute. Isn't that the French flag under Leclerc's name there? Anyway.
I don't know.
What was the we were way off with the lap time. What was going on there?
Yeah, 1:20. Well, the fastest lap to date before that was 1:30 something, wasn't it?
Didn't we say that it was going to be 5 seconds?
It was 1:24. It was going to be 5
Maybe
seconds.
we could have had him away. Maybe it was 5 seconds fast.
Well, still, it's 9 seconds fast. Anyway,
we're all over the show. So we've done that. Okay, so you've got one. You didn't get Perez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You've got 8 points here for that race. So I've got Leclerc 2. Sainz, obviously no. Let's cross him out. Russell 2. No, nothing for Verstappen. Hamilton, where did he come?
4th.
Shit. I thought you got 5th. Damn it. I thought I was getting that. I got 1 point for him then. Perez, where did he come? I only got 1 point for him.
2nd.
I got him in 6th. Gasly, where did he come?
9th.
Oh, I got 1 point. Look at me. Look at this though. Norris, where did he come?
5th.
Another point. No, he's in the top 10. What about OK Mag?
14th.
He didn't get top 10.
Also, apparently, according to Ted's notebook, there was rumours going around the paddock.
Promoting Ferrari other people. They don't promote us, you know. They don't promote us.
Who?
There's rumours that Vettel. No, nothing for Vettel and nothing. Obviously, poor old Vettel. So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 9. 9.
How did you get 9?
I got the pole as well.
Oh, okay. I'll give you that.
That's another point. So now I was on 17. You were on 15. 15 plus 8, 5, 6, 20.
You're the maths teacher. Come on.
Oh, shut up. Mr. Maths. Like and subscribe. You've got 23 points. 17 plus 9. 26. 26. I'm putting away here. Season's over.
Season's over.
Season's over, people. Okay. So that's been predictions. Let's have just one more Murray. Let's have a look up at Murray in the sky there, and then we'll have a little sip of our drink.
Unless I'm very much mistaken.
There we go. Thank you, Murray. Murray, can you if you're up there, can you help us with this? I bet you disapprove of the whole managerial argument we had. I'm going to find that academic paper and I'm going to read it out to the podcast listeners. Okay.
Doesn't matter. It depends on the situation completely.
A toe ring. Your argument stemmed on a toe ring. You do realise that, don't you? You went from, okay, no, that's all right. That's all right.
If that's your takeaway from that situation, kind of explains why you've got issues with middle management.
It's not like that. I've always had issues with middle management. Let's just stop sharing this screen.
It's not about them, is it?
It's about me. It's about my own pathetic inability to climb the corporate ladder and my own bitter resentment. And on that note, people,
it actually says I'm just going to say, Robert, it actually says on my CV that I'm an ambassador for change and good with managing change with reluctant crowds.
Oh Christ! And on that note, on my pathetic attempts, on that bombshell. No, we're not nicking other people's stuff. We talked about this. On that bombshell, it's time to end the F1 podcast.
Like, subscribe, comment.
Like and subscribe. Someone send us an email. Thing1, the number 1 show.
Obrigado.
Yes, if you're still listening, Mr. Portuguese man, there was 2 of them, so maybe he's got his friend, and we would love to hear from you. And you know, you could be our first guest, a second guest. We had the world exclusive. We've got again. There's going to be an Ernie interview next week. I'm going to plan this. See how Ernie's getting on, and we've got some new little segments for the YouTube channel, which is The Man in the Pits Explains. I've been working on. Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's the next video I'm working on, mate. Don't you worry. So everybody, thank you so much for sticking with us for the F1 Show podcast, and we'll see you next week. Bye.